Well, I told you before that I didn't want to get political, and I'm still trying not to become political, but I did want to give you some signs that are going on with the riots in LA. And I know that there's some other cities that are getting involved, but the big one is LA. So let's go over some of the signs that are used. So the first one is like, we'll do protest and then we'll do riot. So protest is two different signs. I know I've already given this to you, but a protest, you get your S hand shape and you turn it, the fist towards you, the palm orientation, and then you're going to go out. Protest. You could also say the word protest like you're carrying a sign. So you have your 5 hand shapes, you're carrying the sign and you're going to pull it up like you're carrying it. And some people did have signs, right? So it's like you pick it up, like you grab a hold of it and you pick it up, right? You grab a hold of it, you pick it up, and you could even do this, or marching in the street, right? So you're marching in the street, or you got your sign, whatever. You can do that gesture, but this is protest. So to do a riot, you do the sign for protest, and then you can, it's all like chaos, right? So you get both of your hands and they're doing the same thing except the opposite, right? So the right hand, this is my right hand, is going to the right, and my left hand is going down. So it's to the right and to the left. So this hand goes down and this hand goes up. It's all a big mess, right? So the riot. So last night, the riot, right? The protesters, or you could say the protesters, there are people, you could do protesters, because many of them had a sign, the protesters. So you could do those signs. So that's 3 ways to do those signs. And so then let's get into ICE. So ICE, because it's an acronym, you would spell it ICE. And then if you wanted to do the National Guard, so you do the police, it is a C hand shape and it's the shape of a badge. And see if and people say, oh, it's a C for cops. It's really the badge, but it could be that, like a whole hand shape is like the sheriff. And they did have the sheriff department. So the sheriff department, the police department, and the National Guard. So National Guard. All 3 groups were there, lined up or lined up. You could do it this way. This is their legs, right? And this is just, you can still do the same way. They all lined up, or they all lined up. Either one of those would be correct. But, see what your friends are doing, and you want to be able to communicate with your friends. So be able to sign kind of the same as they do. It's kind of like the way someone pronounces a word. So you could do, oh gosh, it was the sheriff, LAPD, the police, the National Guard, right? Or it might be easier this way because you don't bend your wrist. See, this would be bending your wrist. It harms it. I'm trying to make sure y'all don't get carpal tunnel, and this doesn't bend your wrist. Then they had the electric cars on fire. They were self-driving cars, I think. So you could do electric. This is your X hand shape. Electric cars were on fire. They had 3 and they were lined up. There was 3 cars on fire. They were self-driving. Really? Self-driving? Yeah, automatic with your X. Automatic. Wow. Yes, so you could have that. And then you can say like, oh, last night I noticed on TV they had those trash dumpsters and it's a big box. They were on fire too. Wow. Did you see that guy in the van? Yes, I saw that. It was crazy. And I think they arrested him. See? So you can discuss those things that you see. So the van's going backwards. But you can't, it's hard to do a backward donut, but you could start that, right? he was going backwards and around and around and around. So you want to show that he was going, instead of frontwards doing donuts, he was going backwards doing donuts. And then he was going like this into traffic, and it was scary, and he almost hit someone riding a bike and, you know, going the wrong way on the street. So those are kinds of easy to do, as he was kind of weaving in traffic and he wasn't stopping and going really fast. So those are the kinds of things that you can discuss. If you don't want to get into politics, because those are just facts, right? Those are just the facts that were true, that we saw happening. Yes, and then they had tear gas, and you could do a tear and then spell gas. You know, they would, that tear gas, or that pepper spray, right? And it goes into the crowd, and everybody's yeah. I think the tear gas and the pepper spray is about the same. And then I saw the military or the police. They had on the mask, the gas mask. So you can do that kind of too. It's not mask because it has that whole thing that covers their nose and their mouth, and they can breathe here. But it's over their mouth and their nose. You could do that, but I would probably almost do this, just because that's what you see, and that's how deaf people, when they look at something and how they decide a classifier, is what does it really look like? What is it that they're seeing? They might not be reading the caption. Or sometimes, you know, it goes too fast, so they go, oh, I saw them with those masks on. Yeah, when I saw the police, I knew it was going to be gas. You know, the tear, like you're crying, like this is the tracks. The tear, like, oh, he was crying. You know, gas, and those different types of things. So you can discuss what was going on or what's up, without really getting into politics. It's just what you're seeing. So, I mean, if you want to get into a discussion about that, but, you know, here is just the signs without, you know, bias, you know, without, you know, my opinion or your opinion. These are just the signs that would be used. So, but the rioters, I think, the riot is the biggest thing. And so, again, protest, and it's a big chaotic mess. This is a big mess, or chaos. It's chaotic. So protest, chaotic, is a riot. So we didn't see anyone getting beat up. I mean, if you wanted to do a fight, and we've seen those, that's a little bit different. So then you would say, oh, there was some fighting or whatever. They got their clubs. They had them ready, but I didn't really see that they used it. So, but anyway, so you can show those things without getting into your own personal opinion. So anyway, I hope that you can use that with your friends, hearing and deaf, and then see what they use for their signs. And if it's something different, let me know. So, I mean, I could learn too, and sometimes with different slang or whatever, or people from the different areas of the country, it may be different. So let me know, and I'll see you later. Bye.